Making It in Botswana, a TV show that takes you on a behind-the-scenes look at how everyday items are manufactured right here in Botswana. Making It in Botswana, brought to you by Botswana Investment and Trade Center. Go Botswana! Today on Making It in Botswana, we take a look at the process behind organic fertilizer production with a company called Organic Fertilizers Manufacturing Botswana. We then head off to FSG to witness the coffin manufacturing process. This gravel road leads us to Organic Fertilizer Manufacturers Botswana. This is Making It in Botswana.
Organic Fertilizer Manufacturers Botswana was registered in 2011, and it was as a result of a boyhood dream and history involved in the use of manures in agriculture. So I started with 4 laborers, a compost mixing machine, a scale and a sowing machine, and ended up starting to sell compost to the housewives in Pakalani. So since then we've grown now into this multi-million puller industry, where we've now got a capacity of producing 100,000 tons a year. The idea is that the organic fertilizers are absolutely unique. The soils of Botswana are very poor generally and are lacking in organic matter. Organic matter is an essential part of the growing process for plants, and we believe that by putting organic matter back into the soils with assistance of other inorganic and organic products, we can definitely develop the soils for the farmer and maximize yields and potential for the farmers. We currently have 14 products registered with the Ministry of Agriculture here. We are busy registering another 6 products which are unique to this environment and to the current climatic conditions of Botswana. We believe these new products, we've done a lot of research, these products will add an incredible amount of productivity to the agricultural sector here in Botswana and the region. We actually have no idea of the number of customers that we have in the country. We've probably put in close on 20,000 tons of fertilizer into the local market over the last 5 years. This year we've signed up 20 distributors that will be distributing our product countrywide. In South Africa, we've exported about 2,000 tons so far. We're in over 100 outlets in South Africa. So again, I cannot give you about the number of people, that there must be thousands that we know that are using our products there as well. So on the quality assurance side, we also have our own testing facilities, our own laboratory, where we test the manures and the compost and the fertilizers at periodic in batches.
This is Making It in Botswana. The process of fertilizer production begins here. Cows, or more formally, cattle. The raw material from our beloved cattle gets brought in from the feedlot, and it is composted over a 3-month period, then gets heated to temperatures over 60 degrees Celsius during this period for about 4 to 5 heating sessions. As it becomes broken down, the product becomes cooler. Towards the end of its life cycle, there is no more heat being generated in the compost, which indicates that the product is now sterile. The compost then gets brought into the factory, and it is sieved to take out any stones and bigger particles. The remaining part is now a fine material. Several materials are then added. These include cattle and chicken manure, carbon, gypsum, and various other ingredients that form part of this special recipe. They are all weighed off such that each batch has the exact same composition and weight, which is an intrinsic part of the organic fertilizer manufacturers Botswana quality assurance guarantee. From here, the product goes into a bin, which then feeds into a granulator. Inside the granulator, the product is sprayed with a binder, which changes the composition from powder to a harder substance. When it comes out of the granulator, the product is wet and as such needs to be dried. The product then goes into a dryer, which heats up the product to 350 to 400 degrees Celsius at the front, and the ambient air at the end is 110 degrees Celsius. From the dryer, the product then goes into a cooler, which sucks out all the hot ambient air. The hot air is spread throughout the entire tube, such that when the product comes out, it is completely dry. The product then goes into a sieve in which all the dust is removed. The end result in this process is two types of particles, the correct size particle and a bigger particle, which is not ideal. Before we head off to packaging, it must be noted that Organic Fertilizers has a blending plant which can blend inorganic fertilizers. Farmers come in with their type of soil. The soil is tested right here at Organic Fertilizers Botswana. After rigorous tests, a prescription, so to speak, is made as to the optimal fertilizer that should be used on that particular soil. Any type of fertilizer can be made here to suit any type of soil. According to specification, the product is then packaged, labeled, and is ready for distribution to a store near you. Next time you are at your favorite grocery store, look out for the Organic Fertilizer brand. Let's take a short break. This is Making It in Botswana. Back to production. It's how we say our sad goodbyes to loved ones, how we pay our last respects. We all feel the need to give our loved ones a dignified burial. This begins with getting the right casket for the burial. We have to ensure that the last home, so to speak, of a loved one is a comfortable one. Today, Making It in Botswana is at FSG, the leading funeral service provider in Botswana. This is Making It in Botswana.
The company has got a casket and coffin manufacturing factory at G West. The factory opened in 1993 and it employs about 55 people. We manufacture about 40 different kinds of caskets. At the factory, we produce around 3,000 caskets throughout the year. In these caskets, we export to Zambia. We'll soon be exporting to Zimbabwe. Some of the caskets we sell at our own funeral parlors countrywide, and we also supply them to some funeral parlors in Botswana. Quality control is very important to us in the factory. We take it seriously from the very beginning, where we source our raw materials such as lining, the handles, all the different accessories that go into putting together a casket. After the products are manufactured, they go through a thorough test whereby we ensure that They are free from any defects, and what we bring to the market is of quality standards. We also have Phomolo Memorial Park, where we allow members to bury their loved ones in the tranquil and lavish Phomolo Memorial Park located in Pakalani. The group also has a catering company called iFood, which offers catering services for social and corporate needs. I'd like to encourage both young and old to take up our policies, because with our funeral policies, you are assured that when the time comes, you will not have any financial burden to bury your loved ones.
This is making it in Botswana. This is where the process begins. We begin by having the wood cut using a sliding saw. It then goes to what is called a router machine, where the desired patterns are drawn on the top cover of the coffin. After these patterns are drawn on, the edges are smoothed out. The coffin lid comes in two parts, a first part and a second part. The first part is where the deceased is typically viewed. A marking is made where the wood will be cut to accommodate the two parts. Then we go to cutting of the strips that will support the final top layer. These strips form upright panels that will be applied to the lid. Now the top part is made. A glue is applied onto the box. The molds are aligned and stapled. We then apply body filler to conceal the holes left from nailing and cutting. This is a very intricate process to ensure that all nooks and crannies are all concealed for an absolutely perfect finish. Then we are onto the box, which is the bottom part of the coffin. A glue is applied onto the box and molds are added to give it a more defined and durable shape. The molds are aligned and stapled. The body filler is again applied to completely seal off all the holes. Filler is applied to both the top and the bottom of the coffin. It is then left to dry for approximately 20 minutes. A sanding machine is then used to smoothen the wood and the filler. This also prepares the coffin for the next stage of spraying. The coffin has to be extra smooth before it gets to the spraying section. This is the spraying section. Here we begin spraying the coffin with a first coat using a sanding sealer. Then a second coat of paint is applied onto the coffin before being left to dry for 30 minutes. Different patterns are sprayed onto the coffin for decorative purposes. This particular pattern gives off a marble finish. All angles and sides of the coffin are given the same effect. Let's take a short break. This is Making It in Botswana. Back to production. We then head off to the accessories department, where handles are inserted. We begin first by marking where the holes of the handles will be drilled. Then handles are installed. Plastic lining is then applied to shield the wood from any possible moisture. Lace trimmings are then added as a decorative feature. This serves as the one thing that completely closes off the coffin, outside of adding a decorative feature on the coffin. Here, thumb screws are then added. Lastly, the coffin is wrapped and stored, ready for use. Next week on Making It in Botswana, we visit the Botswana Vaccine Institute, where they take us through the process behind the making of livestock vaccines. We then head off to a company called Fiberland to learn about the process of bath manufacturing. This is Making It in Botswana.